mean, you're in the matrix, folks. You're being hit with chemical, biological attack. That's why when some arrogant cop or somebody yells at me filming in public, I start laughing. I go, man, you're a slave. They're going to take your pension fund. You know this isn't freedom. Why are you following these orders? How much of your family's dying of cancer right now? I did this in England and the U.S. repeatedly on tape. And they just go, oh, what do you know about that? And I'm like, well, I saw in the local British paper that half the Brits by 2010 are going to have cancer. He goes, I know. Why is it going up? Why has everybody got it? And I'm like, it's a chemical biological warfare program. Here are some books you can read written by the enemy. You understand you're not part of the winning team? And they go, I already know that. I'm just following my orders. Well, I'm like, okay, just whatever, man. I told you what's going on. And I'm not a hero. I'm nothing special. They're killing us. Of course I'm warning you. It's not special that I'm telling you this. It's crazy. They put plastic in most of the fast food bread that gives you kidney failure and liver failure on record. And I think about this woman who called in and her little sweet first grade daughter who they lied to and said, take the MMR shot. Just joined us. She was telling the story. I wanted to recap the whole thing without me interrupting. And they gave her the MMR shot, and then she couldn't walk. First she was stumbling, they couldn't walk, then had seizures, blood on the brain. They admitted it all. Said, we don't know what the mystery illness is. Folks, they designed Gardasil to eat your ovaries. We told you that 8 years ago with scientists and doctors. And they had Rick Perry lie and say it's the law to take it. And a majority of Texas girls lined up and took it. And folks, they are wrecks now. And they got away with it. They got away with it. And I've had Rick Perry's staff not once but twice now. People I see on TV, but off record. You know, people that are really come to me and apologize. And go, what do we do? One of them was in the military at Fort Sam Houston and saw special forces brought in. It was 6 years before Endgame. He came to the Endgame premiere, so that was 14 years ago. Right when Perry was already governor, or about to be governor. And he came in, this is before he worked for Perry, and they all gave him inoculations. I think he said it was 8 of them. And they all died 2 days later. And they strapped them all down. They said, we're giving them inoculations. And went, oh, they don't give you all the info. They go, oh, they're sick. They're convulsing, probably some type of rabies or something, weaponized rabies. They strapped them all down as these special forces guys were murdered. Then they sent guys in hazmat suits to spray bleach all over the walls and take them out. And before they did that, they sucked all the blood out of the troops. And you know what they were going to do. They're using their blood as growth medium. They literally took the troops and sucked their blood out for growth medium. You want to compromise with these people? You think they just use fetal cells to grow vaccines? They use the troops' blood and organs. You're nothing to them, and the sooner you figure that out, the sooner we're going to turn this around. And he goes, what do I do? He goes, Rick Perry's really good. You know, he believed in all that. He didn't. He goes, but I know a lot of this is true because I saw it. You saw it, didn't you? But what? You know, give them shots, watch them die. It's loving. It's loving. So take all the shots, okay? The government wants to help you. Let's talk to Kim. Kim, you've got 4 minutes. Tell your story of what happened to your daughter, where you're at, and how it all unfolded. Go ahead.
Starting from the beginning or where we're at now?
No, because some stations just joined us. Start over what your daughter, what happened.
Okay. My daughter was vaccinated by the MMR vaccine, the booster. Within a couple hours, she started walking like she was drunk. She could not walk a straight line. And this continued for a few weeks. And, you know, honestly, I was so young, I didn't really connect it to the shot, unfortunately. It was looking back now that I've seen, you know, it started within a couple hours. It continued on for weeks. She'd be walking and then just fall over on the ground.
And let me guess, the hospital didn't even tell you to give her Benadryl or anything to reduce swelling or anything. They just said, we don't know what's happening. Yeah.
No.
They're like, we're giving your daughter a gift. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Sure. And I took her back to the doctor and told him what was happening. you know, they had no explanation. They didn't even, it was almost like they were just ignoring what I was saying. And so she started complaining of double vision. You know, I'd be talking to her and she'd be like, Mommy, I see a whole bunch of you. And, you know, I took her back to the doctor for that. And
no putting her on ice, no giving her Benadryl, no nothing, when they knew full well what they just done, but they couldn't diagnose it or they would admit they did it. So they sat there and watched her lose her IQ. But tell us what happened next.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, you know, she'd go into these spells where she'd just stare. And I'd try and talk to her and she wouldn't even talk back to me. This continued for months, about 2 months. I took her to the doctor. I took her into the ER for the double vision. They all ignored me. Honestly, they ignored me. After 2 months, I looked in at her, and she was completely slumped over. She couldn't move. She couldn't even pick up her own head. But she was complaining of headaches. And so I took her into the hospital, and they were trying to say she had meningitis and all of these crazy things that she did not have. The test came back negative.
Of course.
And she had massive brain swelling. They had to put her on steroids to get the brain swelling to stop. We were in there for weeks. But
it slowed it down, didn't it?
Yeah.
But see, they could have given you that but minutes after, but they can't admit they just did it. So they send you off. And for liability, I mean, these people, these doctors and nurses are murdering people's brains. You know, a lot of people die. I mean, just search woman dies after flu shot, boy dies after flu shot, boy dies after MMR shot. It's happening all the time.
Before this happened, she was a happy, thriving little girl. She had friends. She had fun. She did excellent in school. Granted, she didn't have a lot of schooling under her belt because she was young, but she was doing wonderful. She was such a sweet, happy girl. And when this happened, it felt like when I left that hospital, my daughter died, and I have someone else now.
No, that's what they did. They gave your daughter a partial lobotomy, and they do that to little babies every day. They do it to little girls, little boys. They sterilize them with the Gardasil, and it's all on record. But it's so horrible, the public can't admit it. And even when doctors get brain-damaged children themselves, they won't admit it, most of them. But let me tell you, most doctors I know and nurses, they pressured me 3 times to give shots, even though the doctor we had was a listener and a good lady. But it's such a cult from the hospital management, and the nurses would always go, we don't give our kids it either. We know it causes autoimmune stuff, but we get fired if we don't push it. And we need, if this is, but because all we're talking about is gay, lesbian, black, white, you know, blah, 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 Michelle Obama's arms, while meanwhile they're doing this to everybody. And it tears my guts out. But also sends me into a rage, because here's the deal. They're now beginning, for the first time ever in California and New York, actual forced inoculations, where they're not just lying and saying it's the law to show their criminality. It's the law this August to get vaccinated. There's 50 vaccines by law you've got to get. Show up at Zilker Park in Austin to get your free shots, parents. Prevent disease. And people will even collapse there, or they'll go, oh, they just got scared by the shot. My daughter's having a convulsion 10 minutes after. Well, we don't know what that is. Blood's coming out their nose, out their ears, you know. That's a gift. That's the gift of the New World Order. It's a sacrament. And I'm not trying to be sarcastic with you. Your pain really gets to me, but I'm being cynical with dark satire back at the people that go along with this. And I mean, I know medical doctors who literally I've run into, and then I knew years ago, let's just say connected to family, who literally hate my guts because I talk about this, and they go, well, there are some problems, but problems are outpaced by benefits, cost-benefit analysis. But that's not even true. And they go, well, don't you believe in the science of inoculation and acquired immunity? And I go, yes, I know it's 500 years old. I know it started with pox. I know how it was. They took the pustules with a toothpick and shove it under the skin. I get all that. Give someone a lesser exposure so they don't get the full exposure. Give it to them when their immune system's up, not down. You'd usually get it when you had a bad immune system, and it would kill you. So give it to someone when they're doing well. Still, though, the pox treatment could kill people sometimes. It was a cost-benefit analysis. But pox out of somebody's pussy arm put into your son or daughter so that they don't get it when they're sick and then die is not genetically engineered super weapons by a global government known for doing 100 years of secret testing and literally creating Nazi Germany as a testing ground and then destroying it, who are involved in depopulation and openly saying babies are like mackerel. I have articles here today where they're now coming out saying it's end-of-life planning to kill your unborn child or your baby. I mean, that's how, there it is right there on screen. This is the type of stuff that we're talking about. And when you're faced with something this evil, this over the top, by the authorities, it's hard for the average person to come to grips with it. I believe in the science of inoculation. The elites get very special, proprietary, multi-thousand dose, made in incredibly clean laboratories. They get real vaccines. And that's come out in the news. The British elite, the German government, and the German military heard about it and said, we're not taking it unless you give us that. This is the issue. Then they lie to you and say, oh, we've cleaned up the vaccines. No, they haven't. No, they haven't. It's not cleaning them up. It's done on purpose. Bayer put HIV and hepatitis in the factor 8 and knew it and shipped it out to hundreds of thousands and killed them. Okay, and that all came out in court, folks. That's on the news. They wanted to kill people. They knew and did it. They want to kill you. They will kill you if they can. But they don't want you to know how you got killed. They want to hit you in 20 years. Down the road, you drop with debilitating diseases. They know what you're going to get from what they've done to you. They develop the treatments, not the cures. And then while testing all this stuff on you, they're developing life extension technologies for themselves. And I've given you the entire paradigm of the enemy. Your daughter is not dead. Her soul is there. She can be taught to grow again. I would limit the television screen time. I would play her classical music. I would pray for her. I would take her to the top of clear, clean mountains, and she can come back from it. Your daughter is not dead. They wish she was. But God bless you, and I really appreciate your call.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And sometimes I go off when I get a caller like that for 20, 30 minutes because, ladies and gentlemen, this is so serious. Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filter today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139.